under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do a roll call. Go ahead, Joe.
Roll call, President Vince Ferrante.
Present.
PT Bob Leventhal. Present. Treasurer Frank Brady.
Present.
Trustee Frank Benintendo.
Present.
And Secretary Joe Torre. All present, Mr. President.
Okay, we're going to just turn the mic over to Frank Benintendo, who has a few things to say. And then when he gets done, we'll start the president's remarks. Good, Frank, you got it.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Benintendo. For those who don't know me, I've been a board trustee for 2 years now. Before that, I was the chair of the ARC committee since its inception for 13 years. I'm up for re-election again come this year. And let's get the meeting started. I will talk to you about my abilities and what I've done for the community at the night of the candidates meeting. So let's get started.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason we did the Zoom meeting is because we looked at the different options to the community so we could have everybody join us. And unfortunately, the way it worked, our clubhouse room is an occupancy of 60 people. And under the mandates of 25, that would only allow us 15 people to attend. So that was not an option.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Why didn't they have the meeting?
Listen, we're gonna hold all the meeting questions later as we go along. So I'm gonna explain a lot of different things, why we're doing things a certain way before we get actually into the meeting with the remarks from the president, secretary, treasurer, and so forth. So we looked at doing an outdoor meeting, maybe in the parking lot, but the consideration was nixed because a lot of people work. And with the daylight going away quicker than normal, we'd only give us an hour or so to do that, and we'd be sitting out in the dark in the parking lot. So we made that. Being that Zoom is the way of the future, or we should say the present, schools use it, government uses it, corporations use it. It's a good tool to have. You learn something how to use it. You may want to use it for your families and introduce them and connect with them during the COVID-19 situation. So we're going to do this Zoom. It may be a little shaky. We're new at this as well as you guys. So just bear with us, and we're going to go from there. Now, this meeting is being moderated by Sal, who's an employee of MEM Management. So he's working the controls, and he will keep everybody muted. That way everyone can hear the trustees talk. And at the end of the meeting, after all the business that we have to go through, and there's quite a bit to do tonight, we'll open it up to the floor for all the homeowners to have a question and answer period. Now, when we get to that part, I want to explain the best way to be recognized, being that we can't see everybody. Everybody's in their own home. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see something that says participants. When you click on that button, a window is going to open on the right-hand side, and you'll see all the people that are on the Zoom meeting at this point. We have 46 people on Zoom. We have other people that are telecommuting into the meeting as well that opted not to come on Zoom. In that panel where all the names are, if you look in the right-hand corner, the lower right-hand corner, it says raise hand. When we open the meeting for questions, after we go through the agenda, you click on the raise hand. A little blue hand will pop up next to your name, and the moderator will then allow you into the meeting to talk. Everyone will hear you. Everyone will hear your question. Because there's 46 people, or 40, because we have 5 trustees, and Susan's here with us, and we have Betsy taking notes. And one other thing, this meeting is being recorded, so I have to let you know that. And when your hand goes up, and then you'll be allowed in, the moderator will tell you to speak. Please announce your name, where you live, keep your question short and to the point, and then one of the trustees will address your question to the best we can at this time. If you will be, after that question is answered, you will have one follow-up. So if you want to ask a second question about that topic, you can. Maybe you didn't understand what the trustee said. You need a clarification. We're going to limit it to one question and one follow-up. That way, everyone can get a chance at asking questions and keep the meeting moving as quickly and efficiently as possible. I want to make a few comments on COVID-19. We live in difficult times now. The board had to make a lot of decisions that may have been unpleasant to some of the community homeowners. And the main thing was that we took in consideration the safety of all of us. And these decisions weren't made easily. We did a lot of soul searching. We referred to our general counsel for legal counsel. We referred to our insurance carrier to see what liabilities that may be involved if someone gets sick using one of the facilities here at the community. We talked to MEM management to find out what other HOA communities were doing and how they were handling the situation. We talked to the pool company to find out what other communities may or may not be opening up their pool and what they have to do. We looked extensively at the pool opening. It was so difficult to do it. And the cost made us say we can't open the pool because it's too dangerous for the safety of the community. Also, we followed all the governor's mandates that were coming down to us. And most importantly, we followed the New Jersey Health Department guidelines, along with the federal government CDC guidelines. So those decisions were made with a lot of soul searching, pain, and knowledge and fact. So we made the right decision. Now, we did open up the tennis courts and the bocce courts, so we get some of that going. And some good news that will be reported to you in the Secretary's report. We're going to open up the gym inside the clubhouse, so we start using the gym as well. And the details for that will come to you when Joe Torre makes his report to you. Got to remember one thing. The state mandates what we do and what we don't do. The board does not take it on their own to make up as they want to make up things. You have to understand that. And we all have to be careful and respectful of our fellow homeowners, that some people have greater tolerance for COVID-19, some don't, some have more fear, some have less fear. So wearing masks indoors and social distancing is always important. Okay. Next thing, one more thing I want to bring up, and it'll be talked to you. We have an election this year. This is added to the agenda. That meeting will also be a Zoom meeting. It's important that you attend that meeting because all the candidates that are running for open seats on the Board of Trustees will make a presentation to you, the homeowner. And yeah, the election procedures for the elections will be talked about from the president's report when he gives it to you next. At this point in time, I hope we're off to a successful Zoom meeting and many more, because we're going to be able to, this is the only way we're going to be able to communicate. Hopefully you learned something tonight. Maybe you use it with your friends and your family and your loved ones. And now I'm going to introduce Vince Ferrante, our president, to give you the president's report. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. So as Frank mentioned, I am the board president, and many of you may know me. For those of you who don't, I moved here in June 2015 and was elected to the board in November 2017, re-elected 2019, and I'm up for re-election on November 2021. I've served as the board president since coming on board as a board trustee. So that's a drop of background about me. I am not up for re-election this year. Obviously, it's next year. So I have 3 topics to discuss, and the first one is the election procedure. Now, in the past, I know many of you who are signed on now have seen prior board elections. In the past, we all came to one room, and 2 or 3 members of the community went into a private room and just counted out the ballots, and we tallied up who got the 3 largest votes or 2 largest votes for members to come on the board. In 2020, the state of New Jersey changed all of the laws that all homeowner associations have to abide. So we have all new guidelines to go with. I will tell you that the board has had no less than 3 meetings with our attorney, our property manager, sitting in on lectures to try and understand how this procedure works. So we think by now we've got it down pretty well. And so this is the way the procedure is going to happen this election year. Initially, by now, everyone should have received from Susan a mailer asking for candidates who want to be considered and apply for the board for the November election. They must respond back to us if they're interested by the end of September. So you've got roughly another 7-8 days to respond back. Now, the next step will be once we receive the candidates' names, we're going to be putting that into an election ballot. And it's now going to be a 3-envelope process, again, required by the state. So you're going to get an envelope that's going to look like this. It's a brown manila envelope. What size is it, Sue?
8.5 by 9 by 12.
9 by 12. And obviously it'll have your name on it and addressed to you. And when you open it up, there's going to be 2 other envelopes. And again, this is not our guidelines. This is the state guidelines. We must follow them. Inside one envelope, which would be the larger of the 2, if you will, there's not much difference, but it's the larger of the 2, will be the information on who you're voting for. You'll read the document, check the boxes of the 3 people that you want to vote for. There'll also be some extra lines in case you want to perhaps vote for someone else. Is that correct? Okay. So there'll also be some spare lines that you can put other people's names on there if you want to consider somebody else. When you're finished with your document, what you're going to get as well inside the original packet is a 3rd envelope. On this envelope, I'm sorry, on the second, all right. On the second envelope that you're going to get, my apologies, when you complete your election ballot, you're going to put it inside of the second envelope. You'll know it's the second envelope because it will be addressed back to Madison Crossing and your return address will be up in the corner. We will take care of all that information, correct, Sue? So you don't have to do anything except stuff it in there. All of this will then be sent back to us, and what you're going to do is, before you mail this here, I'm sorry, I screwed it up myself. There's the 3rd larger, the smaller envelope. You're going to stuff everything in the small envelope, but you're going to have no information on it. Hope I didn't confuse anybody. So the small one's going to have no information on it. The larger envelope that you're going to get and return to us as well will have the return address of Madison Crossing and your return address here. So your ballot will go in the blank one with no name on it. It all has to do with going forward. We're not going to know who voted for who on this envelope. It'll come back to our community, and this envelope, which will be inside the mailer, if you will then go inside of a box, and it will not be touched until the night of the election. All of this information will be put into a locked box. What will happen at that point is that we will then have 2 or 3 people from our community who will be here in the clubhouse and televised to open up the envelopes. And again, they're going to be blank, so we're not going to know who submitted this envelope. And in here will be the people's names, and we will check off the 3 people that were got the most votes to be on the board. Right, that's right. It cannot be done by email. It must be done this way. And again, it's a state mandated law. It's a pain in the neck, but it has to be done. So hopefully I don't confuse you more. That certainly wasn't my intentions, but there'll be more instructions about that as time goes on. Now, when we get back by the end of this month, all of the people in the community who want to run for the board We will have a second Zoom meeting that Frank Benintendo touched upon on November 12th, which will be candidates night. Each candidate will be given some time for you to meet them, and they will discuss with you what their credentials are and why they want to join the board as another step to help you decide the 3 people that you want to vote for. So that's what will be happening on November 11th, and it'll be the same process to sign on to the Zoom that you're doing now, and we're going to do that again at 7 p.m. And now finally, and perhaps as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing is to talk about the litigation. I know most of you have come to meetings in the past. I've always talked about that, and I'm going to talk about it again. This time, what I want to say to you is that we are now 100% done. We have no lawsuits pending with anyone. And for those of you, again, who were applying for a mortgage or a refinancing, in the past, you had a problem because they would not give a refinance when there was litigation going on in the community. That is all gone. So when you send a form in, Susan can check the box off that says we have no litigation. As a result of that, of course, what's happened is we're no longer spending the $50,000 a year we were previously spending on legal fees to continue to fight a lawsuit that wasn't really going anywhere well. So how did we end up? And I'm sure most of you kind of know already. We settled with the builder, which was a PRC, and PRC would only talk to us about the properties that they built, which we called phase 3. So we got $400,000 from PRC, and that money's in the bank. And Frank Brady's going to expand upon that as well in a little while. In addition to that, because we negotiated friendly with PRC, they gave us the list of the subcontractors that did work in the community. And as a result of that, our attorneys were then able to file lawsuits against the 4 subcontractors that were relevant to this particular lawsuit. And we were fortunately able to get back from them money as well. So at the moment, what we have in the bank from the various subcontractors, including PRC, which was $400,000, we have $546,000 in money we've received from settlement on the lawsuits. We are expecting another $22,500. So in the end, we will have made $568,500. And again, we no longer have the legal fees once we satisfy the current attorney for the legal fees he was doing to negotiate all of these settlements. So I'm happy to tell everyone that we're done with this. We do have money in the bank from this settlement. It's not all in there because we've done some work. And again, Frank Brady's going to go over. I got the benefit of telling you the plus side. Frank's going to tell you to some degree that the minus side, meaning where the money went out. So that's all I have for you for the moment. And right now we're going to go over the secretary's report, which is Joe Torre. Joe?
No,
okay.
No,
Here's
we're gonna do.
what are we doing here?
I'm doing the other side of this right now.
Oh, if you wanna,
Yeah.
because they got you after, but it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. If not, okay, we're gonna go out of turn here, I think, and we're gonna turn this over to the treasurer to get Frank Brady. Okay, Frank, you got the ball.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we had that. Good evening. Thank you, Vince. Hi, I'm Frank Brady, Board Treasurer. Many of you know me, but some viewers may not. I've been a Madison Crossing resident since May of 2010 and live on Baker Court. I was elected to this board in November of 2019 last year and will serve until November 30th of 2021. I was previously elected to the board in 2015 and again in 2017. When I look at transition, I look at it this way. I'm probably going to repeat some of the things that Vince said. I hope you don't mind. I look at it this way. The advantages of our transition settlement are fourfold. One, transition legal fees would end. We've been paying monthly since September of 2016, as I believe Vince mentioned. Number two, prospective new owners can apply for mortgages since there is no existing litigation. In the past, mortgagors would send a letter to us and ask if there was any litigation. And when we said, yes, there was litigation, no mortgage. Thirdly, existing owners can apply for refinancing since there is no existing litigation. Again, so there was a time when that couldn't be done by homeowners. And fourth, needed repairs could be planned and completed on the PRC properties, as Vince mentioned, which are Daly Court, Hoffman Court, Barber Court, McGowan Court, and Building P. Last year, the board decision under Vince's leadership and with our agreement was to move forward immediately towards transition from PRC, Madison Crossing at Birch Hill, LLC, which is the developing parent company. An engineering study was done to determine what construction deficiencies had to be addressed in our claim. This was last year. B, the board decided to begin Daly Court Phase 1, that is addresses 2 to 28 on the right side, I believe, begin the repairs. Owners had been waiting since, I believe, 2012 or 2013 for something to be done. Now it was going to be done. C, we pushed the attorneys. We pushed the attorneys to move forward on the transition process as soon as possible. We wanted to be done. We didn't want to drag this out for another 5 years. And D, to finance the above, this was last year, we used working capital account to be later repaid from the settlement funds when they came. And they didn't come until January of 2020, this year. But we started the job last year. This year now, our attorney successfully moved towards settlement with PRC and its subcontractors. As Vince mentioned, $400,000 was received in January from PRC. Soon after, $33,500 was received in February. Now, I'm not going to itemize all the receipts, as Vince did. More subcontractors and their insurance companies were forced to come forward. By the time the dust had settled, Houston McNulty, our transition attorneys, we had $568,000, $500, or the promise thereof. We haven't received all of that yet. We're still awaiting, I believe, $22,500. Now, $568,500 for the transition settlement, okay? There was no case. We didn't go to court. This was a settlement. We may have needed more than that, but this is what we settled for and got. We could have gotten less. Maybe we could have gotten more. First, $161,000 this year was paid back to our working capital, which we had borrowed, as I mentioned, last year to start this job. That left $407,500. $25,000 was paid for deck repairs and 8 more McNulty invoices that had accrued since the end of 2019. That left us with will leave us with $382,500. There are anticipated probable disbursements to come. What are they for? The second phase on Daly Court, the ones that I think are just about finished, that would be 30 through 56 even. And then the phase 3, which would be the 6 odd-numbered properties on Daly Court, okay? And there are other, I think I have them there. Sorry, I wish I had a teleprompter, but I don't. $500 in other Daly Court deck repairs. There were some deck repairs being done, okay? So after that, $126,500 is going to be spent. We'll be left with $256,000. Remember, this started at $568,500. Now we're at $256,000. Fourth, $50,000 is the anticipated final payment to McNulty for the case. The transition agreement we made with them that began back in September, October of 2016 was they would get 1/3 of the settlement, but we would get credit for everything we paid up until now. And the result is we'll owe them probably in the area of $50,000. So that leaves $206,000. Okay? So that was 4 payments. 2 already have been made and 2 more to come in the near future. What else is there? Daly Court back patios, McGowan Court steps. I anticipate that if the steps on Daly Court were done as poorly as they were done by the PRC contractors, then the ones on McGowan Court are probably the same. So that may mean 11 possible properties at $6,000, which is another $66,000 we may have. Let me summarize and say, so reviewing, the $568,500 settlement became $407 after paying back the working capital fund, and then became $382,500 after paying this year's legal fees and some additional Daly Court repairs, and will become $256,000 after paying for the remaining Daly Court steps and landings that have to be repaired. And finally, will become $206,000 after our final payment to Houston McNulty as per our contingency agreement with them signed by a previous board president on August 1st of 2016. I have a 1-page report here, which you probably can't see, which shows some of the details of the above. If our membership desires and if our board approves, I could share this with the unit owners by e-blast. I thank you at this time, and we're about to move on. We have the next item on the agenda. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. I'd like to introduce Joe Torre, our board secretary. Joe.
Hi, all. Good evening. As Frank said, I'm serving as the board secretary this year. I'm going to be looking down to make sure I don't miss anything here. I've been a resident in Madison Crossing since 2013, residing on Hoffman Court. I was appointed to the board last December to replace a resigning board member who had been elected the previous year. So there's 1 year left on his term. Previously, I was elected to the board in 2015. The first year of that term, I served as board secretary. The second year, I served as board president. Now on to the business at hand. The last HOA meeting that we had was in January, and the minutes have been, a draft of the minutes have been on the website for some time now, and tonight we're going to need to accept those minutes. So I'm asking the board if they have any additions or corrections to those minutes. Gentlemen, any corrections or additions to those minutes?
No.
Okay. I need a motion and a second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Board minutes are accepted. They will be officially posted on the website as soon as Susan gets around to that. The second thing I'm charged with today to talk about, and again, I will be looking down because I didn't memorize this list, but as was mentioned earlier by Frank, we will be opening the gym on Monday, September 28th. Susan had worked with the committee, clubhouse committee, and they reviewed the state guidelines that have come out allowing gyms to open. And we're pretty much going to obviously have to adhere to those guidelines. So you will get, and it will be emailed to all, an e-blast will go out tomorrow concerning the gym rules and guidelines. The gym will be opening on Monday, September 28th. The gym will be open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Each resident is allowed an hour-and-a-half time slot. We have a maximum per time slot of 4 people. We have, because of the guidelines and the distance required, we'll have 2 people that can go into the present gym and 2 people will be able to go into the room across the hall, okay? You must make an appointment to a management office 24 hours prior to the time that you're looking for. Emails are encouraged and actually preferred. It'll be easier for Susan to keep track of things. You'll have to come to the front door of the clubhouse, which is locked. The property manager or clubhouse committee members who work with Susan on this will unlock that for you. They will be expecting you, so there's no bell there, but there's no need to bang or pull on the doors. Upon entering, your temperature will be taken immediately. There's a temperature gauge on the left-hand side that will read your temperature. If you have a fever, you're going to be asked to leave immediately. Masks are required throughout your duration here for that hour and a half. In addition, you will be asked to wipe down the machines that you are going to use before using them, and then wipe them down again when you're leaving. The clubhouse committee will also help in overseeing the gym. There are cameras in there. We've had some incidents that unfortunately we have seen some equipment come missing from that gym area. So we'll be monitoring things to make sure that people adhere to the rules and regulations as well. We ask that you come to the clubhouse dressed in your gym attire. Showers will not be available. You will be able to use a locker, but we ask if you do that and you lock it up upon leaving, you get your goods out of the locker and take the lock with you, okay? You can't store anything overnight. The rest of the clubhouse will remain closed. So the only access area will be down the hallway into the gym. As I said earlier, no showers, but of course the bathroom will be available. And also when these rules and regulations are blasted to you, you will see that you will be asked to sign a waiver. That's for protection all around, yourself and the club and the community. And no outside guests or personal trainers will be allowed. Now, once again, I had to read through this thing. You will receive an e-blast that will explain it. We're going to see how this goes. We're hoping that things work out well and we can accommodate the people that are looking to get back into the gym. As Frank mentioned in the opening, we're trying to get things back to normal as best as we can. However, it takes time, and we do have rules and regulations from the state that we have to adhere to. So we're anticipating cooperation from everybody, and hopefully we can get back on track with some normal activities happening around the clubhouse and the gym. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Frank Brady for Treasurer's Report.
No, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Thank you.
Not on, no. Turn it on, turn it on. Start video. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to get my picture onto your screen. Here we go. Thank you, Joe. Treasurer's report. Okay, I'll give my simple, generic treasury report. I won't say as much as I did earlier. I went online with Union Bank today to check our current balance. Our current balance in Union Bank operating is $43,069.19. Operating funds hold cash that is used to run the day-to-day operations. This is in the bylaws, item 7.05E. The Union Bank transition account, I also went online at the same time and checked that balance. I spoke about the transition fund earlier, which began at $568,500. Today's balance was $387,922.37. Thirdly, our reserves. Reserve fund for repair and replacement, which holds cash for repair or replacement of the common elements, and those portions of the common elements for which repair and replacement is required due to damage, depreciation, or obsolescence. The amounts in this account are allocated among each of the separate categories of replacement items. I believe there are 7 or 8 categories. There are 167 different items. The reserve total as of the beginning of this month was $1,100,026.30. Working capital fund holds cash consisting of those non-refundable and non-transferable contributions assessed upon each homeowner upon acquisition of title to a unit, and which may be utilized by the board in its reasonable discretion to meet unanticipated or other expenses of the association. For example, when you purchased, you may recall you had to put 3 months worth of payments into the working capital fund. And as I said earlier, it was the working capital fund that gave us funds to begin the transition construction work that we did last year on Daly Court. And it was paid back. The current balance of the working capital fund is $120,968.88. There's another reserve for deferred maintenance, which shall include funds for maintenance items that occur less frequently than annually. For example, the, what do you call it? The deck painting and so on. Thank you. Okay. The balance of that account today is a total of $76,424.26. And finally, escrow deposits paid by each homeowner upon acquisition of title to be applied in the event of a default in payment of common expense assessments by that homeowner. And this is refundable at the sale of the unit. In other words, I bought in 2010, and the fee at that time was $324 a month. So $324 is in my name in the escrow fund. If I was to sell now to someone, I would get my $324 back. And so will you if you sell and move on. The total balance in the escrow account is $83,052.60. That's the end of the generic treasurer's report. Next, okay, next on the agenda, the vice president's report. So I'm going to turn this over to Bob, who you may see.
Thank you, Frank. Good evening, everyone. First of all, a lot of people here probably know me by now. I've lived in the community since November of 2005. I've served in multiple capacities, from chairperson of many committees, of assisting the boards, of assisting management. I was elected to the board in November 2013 and served through November 2015. I was again elected to the board in November 2018, and I'm running once again for the board in this November. I have a couple of topics I think people would be interested in, the first of which is the back gate. The back gate has not been functioning now for approximately 5 weeks. It's driving the gatekeeper, which is me, and Susan crazy. The issue is not the gate itself. The gate functions perfectly. The problem we're having is with the modem through Optimum. Optimum is not cooperative in any way, shape, or form. They will not work with us. They will not provide the information required to do the repairs to the modem. They are requesting we get static IP addresses, and I don't want to get too technical, subnets, submasks, and everything else, so our security company can get in and do the modifications. Susan has written letters. We've been on the phone, and we're having significant difficulties. So until we can finally get somebody from Optimum to work with us, or if we have to purchase 2 new modems from them and restart it, we may have to do that. But until then, the gate's going to remain in the up position, not because of malfunction, but because of malfunction from Optimum. So I'll leave that at that point. The next topic is pool winterization. I know we all wanted to serve at the pool and spend time at the pool all summer. But as was discussed, COVID-19 mandated us to do the most important thing we could do for the health of our residents. And I'm afraid that was to close the pool. It was a very, very tough decision that all of us had. We really stressed over it, but feel we did the right thing. At this stage, the final nail was the covering of the pool, which occurred on the 18th of September. So now the pool is officially closed for this year, and God willing, next year we'll all have a wonderful summer, be able to enjoy the pool and everything else from that perspective. One thing I will say, a lot of questions arose, well, what about the dollars that we saved on the pool? The cost of the pool was $26,000 for this season. We've recovered to date, or will be recovering, $12,682.50 back. So our total expense would have been $13,317.50 instead of the $26,000. That money will be utilized after we decide and after we receive it fully from Candlewood Tools. As we determine the budget and see what dollars are available, we'll make decisions at that point to see how that money will go. So I think enough said on the pool from that perspective. And the next topic I have actually is new business. So I don't know how we want to go directly into new business or, okay. I'm continuing to go with new business, and I will bring up the topic that some of us don't want to hear, and that's snow removal. This is the time that we must have a contract with the snow removal company so we're totally prepared. Last year we had M6 who, even though we didn't have a tremendous amount of snow, was here very early in the morning, even if we had a slight amount of ice, to put chemicals down, the calcium chloride, to make sure that all the condos, the townhouses, and all the roads were taken care of with calcium chloride as salt. This year, we have one proposal in the bank, and we have two other companies that we are vetting right now who are submitting their proposals, which we should have hopefully within a week. So we'll make the selection out of three, not just one. And we'll see where that takes us. So again, it's extremely important that we close this out very quickly, because once we lose these contractors, you probably will not get them back again. The last topic I have is the front gate. The front gate has been a headache now for multiple years. We've had one gate breakdown constantly. Either the gate is up, the gate is down. The visitor's gate works, the visitor's gate doesn't work. It'll go up and it won't come down. We also have our exit gate, which has been up now approximately 2 weeks, which is irreparable. There are no parts available. These gates are over 15 years old. They've hit their, the end of the road, as the saying goes. We purchased 3 new gates about a year ago. They are fantastic, very, very sturdy gates, very well moving gates. Everyone sees the red and the green to come in, go out. It works, it has its own heating system in the winter, so the gate will not freeze. Plus the fact that, God forbid, we have a power outage, the gates will function with 200 lifts and closures, and before the gate goes up and stays up. The gates we have right now in the front, if there's a power outage, the gates go up and stay up. The good news is we do not have to do any new foundations for the gates. These foundations are good. We don't have to put new wiring in that's usable. The electric is fine, so all of that works out very well. We have a price for replacing the 3 gates with the 3 same gates that we presently have in the rear of $16,329.62. Everybody loves the gates that we have so far, and we hope we're going to have the same luck with the gates that we place in the front. And they should work with us for years.
Bob, can I add a parenthetical comment?
Yes, Frank, please.
I'll try not to go too long. Am I on the screen? Yes.
Yes.
As you know, I don't have a life. So in my spare time, I study the 2019 reserve report. And what I found is that in the reserve report, D.W. Smith priced our gates at $5,500, okay? Per gate, okay? 1 gate, $5,500, okay? And so 3 of those would run $16,500. Okay, Bob mentioned that we have a price from the contractor of $16,329.62. So what I'm trying to point out is it seems that it's a good buy at this point. Also, as I said, I spent time looking at the reserve study, 617 items. And what I found is gates at $5,500 a piece. It works this way, ladies and gentlemen. Total cost, $5,500. Life of that asset, 20 years, which means we simply have to put in $275 a year to replace a gate. Per owner per year, divide that 275 by 228, the number of homeowners we have. Each homeowner per year has to put in $1.21. Save $1.21 a year for 20 years, and you can just write a check to get a new gate. Per owner per month, and I'm sorry, I said 20 years, it's 10, okay? It would be 10 cents. So if each of us families save 10 cents a month for that 20-year period, we write the check, we pay for the gate, nothing lost. That's the way a reserve is supposed to work, so that you don't have to go and borrow money, and so you don't have to wait to make a purchase. Thank you, Bob. Did that help?
Yes, Frank, thank you very much. Well, basically, that's the situation we have with gates, which we'd like to put to sleep. So I'd like to ask the board, are there any questions relating to the gates? Because I would like to make a motion to approve the contract for gates. Are there any questions? Joe?
No.
Vinny? Frank? Frank? No? I make a motion to,
approve.
I second. Okay, the motion's approved. Gates will be ordered. Aye. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Frank. Benny?
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Okay. The last topic is rules and regulations.
Gotcha.
And as time goes on, it's important that the board reevaluates the rules and regulations that we follow to govern the community. Things change in the community, our lifestyles change, and sometimes we need to make change to the rules. We're very concerned. We take these changes very seriously, and we listen to homeowners, what their concerns are, what their complaints are, and we evaluate those against the existing rules to see if there can be an adjustment made, so that way we all can live better in this community. We don't decide amongst ourselves just yes and no, should we or should we not do this? We always speak to our general counsel to see if we are still in the guidelines that from the local town, Old Bridge, as well as the state guidelines which govern how HOA community boards run, to make sure that we stay in proper compliance with the laws that are relegated to us to govern. What's happened is there's been a lot of changes to the community, and I am adding and changing some of the rules and regulations. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have the new rules and regulations. You'll see the old one, and then you're going to see in blue type what the change will be. Susan's going to post it on the website in a couple of days. An email will go out letting you know when that is up there. You should read it. I'm going to have a discussion session vis-a-vis email. If you see something or you have concern or you want to add and subtract or don't understand something, I will give you my personal email address. You can send it to me. I will look at it, bring it to the board, and make adjustments accordingly. Once they are finalized, I need to ask the full membership or the HOA members, homeowners, to vote to ratify that, and we'll set the date for that. We'll try to get it done as quickly as possible so we can get them voted on and ratified and put into place. At this point in time, I think the agenda, no, we have one more thing. We have Susan, who's going to talk to you next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan DeSantis, the property manager, for those that don't know me. Most of you know that over the summer, I went around with 2 tree services to make a list of all the dead trees, the dead shrubs that you guys have given to me over the past year that you want replaced, removed and replaced. So what we're going to do is anytime between now and mid October, we're gonna be financing this through working capital, doing tree removal and shrub removal. We're gonna do a portion of it this year, of the trees that are dangerous, that are falling, that could potentially fall. It's gonna cost $10,000. And I'm going to be contacting everybody tomorrow. I have a very large list. It's at least 30 trees and shrubs that we're gonna be removing. And next year in the spring, early spring, hopefully March, as long as there's no snow, we're gonna continue with the trees and the shrubs that you gave me, everybody that I spoke to, and we're gonna plant everything next year. So it's very important to you guys, it's important to us also, and it makes the community look really nice. I did ask everybody what replacements you want, and we're gonna do our best to accommodate it. So I'll be in touch with everybody tomorrow regarding that list. And now I'm turning it back to Vinny.
Okay, so we are about to conclude the formal portion of our meeting, and when I asked to adjourn it, at that point, we're going to open this up for questions from the community. And hold on 1 minute.
Sorry, motion to approve the trees.
Oh, hold on. We need a motion on that tree proposal. I didn't realize that. Okay. Okay. So we have a motion?
Any questions on the trees?
Are there any questions from the
No.
board on that?
Okay. Okay, anybody in favor? I make a motion that we accept the contract for the trees.
Right.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Okay, so that concludes the formal portion of our meeting. And again, I hope that this Zoom meeting is working well. I seem to think it is. I hope you feel the same way. And now we have to open this up. We'd like to open it up. Well, first I got to get a motion.
I make a
motion
motion
to close
we
it.
adjourn the business portion of the meeting.
Okay,
I second the motion.
okay. So then
All in favor?
we're all in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay.
The meeting is adjourned.
Okay, so the formal portion is done. We're now going to open this up. And I have to, Sal, depend upon you to coordinate who wants to ask questions one at a time, please, so we can hear it and have an opportunity to hopefully respond. The board member that will respond to you will depend upon the question as to which one of the board members has knowledge in that particular area. So Sal, I'm going to turn it back to you, Sal.
Okay, thank you. So the first person I saw with the hand up is Gerard. Gerard, do you have a question for the board? Just, I'll unmute you, Gerard.
No, I just hit the button by mistake. I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, that's the best question.
Thank you.
We can answer that one.
Thank you, Gerard. That's the best answer all day.
Next person is Alice. Alice, just say your full name and your unit number or your address so the board knows who they're speaking to.
Alice. Let me unmute. Okay. Alice Kadensky, 10 Daily Court, and I have question. In a couple of years, some of our buildings will be due to the roof tiles change. With current pattern of money accumulation on an emergency fund, could this work be accomplished with maintenance increase?
Let me try to say something first. I couldn't hear all of what you said, Alice. I'm sorry. We're doing our best to hear here. You referred to an emergency fund of, you said $300,000? I don't know.
Whatever emergency fund you have or whatever fund accumulation money, in couple of years, reserve fund, in couple of years, some of our buildings will be due to roof tiles change. With this current pattern, how the money accumulated for this fund, would you be able to accomplish this work without increasing the maintenance?
Well, Alice, I sure hope we can. The $300,000 that I think you referenced is what's in the budget this year, okay? It didn't all go in. it goes in $25,000 a month over each of the 12 months, and I approve, and that money gets moved from the operating fund to the reserve fund. Now, we had a reserve study last year in which it was determined that to completely be able to pay for everything at any time, we should be putting into the reserve fund about $500,000 a year. Okay, I don't have the calculation handy, but if we were able to put in $500,000 a year, okay, your fee would be probably double what it is today. So what we decided was, we started at $182,000, I believe, last year, working our way, no, I'm sorry, $272,000 last year. We made it $300,000 per year this year. I'd like to raise it to $325,000 next year, which I don't have the math handy, but if you divide that $25,000, that might be, and that has to do with a lot of other things, don't forget, Vince. Okay, so at this point, no one can promise that to take care of the roofs, but we're taking care of everything else. But if you find a way, please let us know. Short of charging homeowners a total of $500,000 a year.
Microphone.
Okay, we're gonna go to Ricky Swede.
Hey,
Sal?
Yes.
Sal, before you go forward with this here, okay, so Frank was mentioning that we want to try and raise the reserve. I think that the board at the moment is negotiating this. We are trying our very hardest not to do an increase in the maintenance fee. Quite frankly, yeah, that's what you implied.
No, I'm sorry. Vince thinks I implied that we would be raising the monthly fee. What I was saying was we may raise the amount of money that goes towards the reserves, which is only part of the overall operating budget. Does that make sense? At this point, we only put $300,000 a year into the reserve of the $1,200,000 that is brought in. Is that making sense?
Microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Sal, let's move on then if we could.
Thank you.
Sure. Next person up is Ricky Swede. Just say your name and your address, please, for the board.
Microphone.
Hi, Ricky Swede, 12 Daily Court. I don't know why I don't get answers. I've asked it a couple of times. I don't have an answer when these front stoops are going to be completed. And the material, it's a big mystery why it's not totally transparent when I ask a question about what's the material and how thick and stuff like that. So I understand better how it's being done, because after all, they've done major mistakes, this M6 or whatever they are.
Okay, so in transparency, we answer as many emails as quickly as possible with information that we have. Due to COVID-19, everyone is stretched in manpower. Therefore, sometimes we have to change the scheduling on when things are being done. M6 has been doing, we think, a great job in work. You keep saying that the work isn't being done properly.
Well, that's why are they having to do, if they're doing it so perfectly and properly, why are we having to redo the steps, the top landing that they did?
Well,
if you want to design a pool, you would make the 3 sides higher, which is exactly what they did. So why is it done well?
So the deficiency was found and it's being corrected.
But it hasn't been corrected, and it's been months. We had to go through the whole entire winter with the ice.
We're trying to do projects in a priority order that makes sense. And right now, we are doing all the stairs, the railings, the side, the stones, and all that. Get that done because people have been waiting a long time for that.
I'm one of those people.
The landings are few compared to the amount of all those buildings in Daly Court. Now, the next phase we're going to be doing are the landings now, and try to get it done before bad weather comes, freezing comes, and all that. So we can't do all the work at one time all the time.
Frank, this has been known. We went through the entire winter where I had to jump over from the front door to the first step because of the ice. It's a dangerous situation. And we went through the whole entire winter, and I have no intention of going through another winter.
People had stairs that were falling down also, which is more of a danger, and we went to fix those first. Ricky, if you want to have this conversation,
I will have the conversation if you want. All I want to know is, how come I can't get an answer on the thickness? This happened before COVID when I was there.
Another question. Ricky, what is the thickness of the thickness is the thickness of the slab.
I would like to have specific information.
And what's the reason for the specific?
Okay, I'm just going to let Frank speak, and then we'll move on to the next person because we have time. We have rules.
Speak, please.
Okay,
so you asked for the thickness. The thickness is by code what it has to be to make sure that the drainage off the top landing drains properly to the front of the steps. And that way there's no more puddling on those steps to cause an icing or a dangerous situation for the homeowner.
Oh.
Okay, next person is going to be Sal. Sal, can you say your full name and your address, please?
Are we having to pay M6 again for this?
Okay, next question is Sal. Sal, do you want to speak? Let me see if I can find him and unmute him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you go, Sal. You're up.
All right. I'm Sal Bully at 7 Hoffman Court. We live right behind 520. We have...
We lost him.
We lost him, Sal.
Okay, let me check his mute. Hold on.
His mute went off, I think.
I think we lost him completely.
Yes, a lot of people.
Yeah, we lost him completely. Okay, we'll come back to him. Laura, you're next. Laura, would you like to speak? Just say your name, full name, and your address.
She have to.
Let me find Laura, see if she's muted.
He's muted, Sal.
Muted. I don't see her.
Am I on mute?
Oh, is that Laura? Laura, you're good now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren, and I live in a 9 Barbara Court since 2013, probably. Don't remember. I have one question. You said that's like the total budget for the pool was 26,000. We didn't use the pool, but we already spent half of this. This really concerned me. Why we spent so much?
Well, it's simple. The pool was open, and it was recommended by the pool company to keep it open. They said that if we had closed it next year, we would have to probably drain the water, scrub the pool because of all the algae that would grow on it. So we kept it open. Now, in order to keep it open, there were chemicals involved. There were people that had to come down and check it on a weekly basis, and that was the expense. That's the expense that we had. There's an expense.
It's a lot of money. I'm sorry, Frank. It's a lot of money, and you guys decided to open the pool even before the COVID was over, even before anything was decided. And I just want to say this really bad decision.
No, I understand something. We're not spending the total 26,000.
I understand this, but it's the half. Without anyone use this, we already spent half money.
The problem is that
3 months. Ricky, not your turn, Ricky. Sorry.
He muted the route.
Good.
Okay.
Don't keep muting me. I'm adding into.
Go ahead, Laura.
You're being rude by muting me.
It's not your
All
turn.
I'm
Please
saying
wait.
is-
Please wait. Please wait.
The floor does not recognize you right now, Ricky. The floor recognizes Laura.
Laura, please finish your comment.
I did finish my comments and I said it's a really, for me, for my understanding, it's a really bad decision. And it's a lot of money that we spend that we can spend for something. Be really careful when you do this.
All right, thank you,
The
Laura.
problem is the board doesn't ask the people whether we want something or not. They just make the decisions on their own.
Hold on, Ricky, let's go through. There's a
And that's
big,
the
there's a
issue.
big
You don't
list.
like to hear it?
There's a big list of people that have questions. Let's go on to Dan Carai, Carrai, Dan.
I'm gonna say, she's crazy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, Dan, you're up.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
not the one who's crazy.
Yes,
excuse
Dan,
me.
you're up.
My question is, with respect to the clubhouse, like a library and stuff like that, is there any idea of when that may open? I know you're following your certain state guidelines and all that.
Well, the answer is no, and unfortunately, while we keep checking with our property management company, our attorney, also communities around here, including Covered Bridge and Regency, they're still closed. So the answer is unfortunately no. We do not have an answer for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up is Jay. Jay, just unmute, or I could unmute you.
Raising my hand as we speak.
Jay, should I take a wild guess what your question is?
And make sure that people.
Hi?
Ricky's
You're up, Jay.
What's your guess?
You need to mute the others because everybody's talking at once.
Okay.
Do me a favor, tell them that I want to.
Vin, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my wife and I did some lead workers concerning some benches to be put around the grounds. I submitted the photos. Any update on those few benches we might want to put? We did quite a bit of lead work, my wife and I, and the photos were submitted. The people who are avid walkers and bikers would like to some of those benches put down. Again, any update on the bench?
Jay, you know what? The board thought it was a really great idea. The question that we still have is whether or not they're adequate for the community, whether or not they'll survive year after year. So we are taking a look at it, and we haven't, because of what's going on right now, I don't want to say we put it on the back burner, but also the board doesn't get together as frequently as we normally do. But we're not kicking that option out. We think it's a good idea. So just sit tight. We are going to work on that.
And we haven't all seen the pictures or specifications. I was wondering, at the last meeting we discussed it, and I was wondering what the extent was of the base that you were putting the benches on. You're going to use a concrete base, I would imagine?
Yes, just like the one that's outside the clubhouse now.
Okay, so it's not simply sitting on the lawn, correct?
No, absolutely not. Of course not. No.
Okay. We'll have to take a look at that.
The pictures were submitted. The pictures were submitted.
When were the pictures submitted?
About a week ago, or at least no? At least a week ago.
Hey, Jay?
Yeah.
This is Frank Benintendo. Listen, I live in a community down south on Long Beach Island, and they have benches out there. They're all year long. I am investigating what those benches are. They're made of PVC. They look like wood. Even the metal that holds the bench together with the slats is all PVC, decorative. I'm looking into that now to see what the costs are.
I submitted all that, Frank. I submitted it already.
Yeah, but we have to make sure that the benches are going to be proper and can withstand the test of time. You see the bench out here in front of the clubhouse? That was donation. It's falling apart. We can't have that happen. Spend good money and have things fall apart. So, you know what, Jay? If you want, I'm going to double check and see where those pictures are, where we are on that. The board did speak about it only when you submitted it. We're going to be looking at that again. Also, we need to put that into the budget. We're going to make a recommendation to the finance committee so the money can be budgeted for that, because it's the end of the year already almost, and our budget is almost finished. So, we don't make anything here. We spend money here. So therefore, your idea is great. I've heard from other people that we should have benches out there, including my own wife. So we're looking into it. It takes a little bit more time than you hoped for, but we are definitely looking into that for you.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Other considerations we may have to consider, though, is if you place a bench somewhere, you're placing it in a location. Now, if that location is next to a property owner who would rather not have that bench there, we have to take their needs into account, correct?
No, Vinny and I discussed it. I have a few locations picked out that are nowhere near anybody's house.
Okay, thank you.
That's something you and I talked about.
We don't all meet every day.
Yeah, right, exactly
Okay,
right.
Thanks.
Okay,
All right, Jay, thank you for your
I'm
question.
gonna let, Sal was cut off, so I'm gonna let him go now. And then after that, I see Joe Pasternak has his hand up on the screen. Joe, you'll go next. So Sal, you can go now.
Yeah,
'cause
thank you,
you,
Sal. I'm sorry, I think I lost my battery there.
no worries.
My question was, we're on 7 Hoffman Court, and 520 is about 100 feet behind us, open space. We all have grandchildren here, and this summer we literally couldn't let our grandkids go out there because it's an accident waiting to happen. So I put in an application. I talked to my neighbors here. We all in agreement. We all have grandkids about the same age, 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, and it's, like I said, it's an accident waiting to happen. I put in an application to Susan, and Susan said it was denied. I asked to speak one of the board members, and no one called me back. We live in a gated community, but anybody could walk in from 520 into the yard here and do as they please. We have cars literally stopping behind us, sitting back there doing I don't know what, and they just sit there. And we could see them. They could come in and pose any kind of danger that they want at any time. So I strongly feel that this needs to be addressed. I don't know why it wasn't put in the first place when this community was built, but it was negligence on the builders, I think, and it's something that needs to be addressed and quickly, because it's just, we can't have our grandchildren going into the yard without the danger of them literally getting killed, and in an adult community, that should not happen.
Hey, Sal, it's Susan.
Hi, Susan.
So, how are you? So I did mail you a letter when we spoke.
I
and it
never got the
outlined-
letter.
Yeah, I sent it to Natalie's attention because you were not at the time on anything. So you guys should have gotten that. If you didn't,
No, we
I'll
never
email
did.
you first thing, but it did go out in the mail to you. I mail all the letters. So it
Okay.
explains everything, so.
No, we never got the letter.
All right, so Susan will send it to you
We
again.
did put it in the mail, so. Joe Pasternak?
Your voice is muted. We don't hear you anymore, Sal.
Okay,
Sal?
we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I
right
was
now.
saying, is there a
Okay.
reason why I didn't hear from one of the board members, or why it was turned down?
Okay, so it was turned down. I used to be chair of the ARC committee, and all those modification forms come through us. As you know, everything that is done in this community needs to be documented. Unfortunately, it's not a police state, but we have to keep strict information and documents to make sure if we ever get audited by the state, we have to show what's going on, that we know what's going on in the community. I'm an advisory to the ARC committee. I'm the one that rejected it, okay? If you want, you and I can have a separate conversation offline, and I'll explain fully why the rejection was put in place. Susan will give you my phone number, and we can talk at a later date, okay?
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Joe Pasternak, you can unmute yourself. Say your address,
How are
please.
you? Do you read me? Oh, hello. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Pasternak, 2 Vanderbilt Court. I am a resident of this community since 2007. Couple of things. On my very court, since before the pandemic, one light pole was down, then it was erected back again, but the light is still not functioning. It's a recipe for a disaster in the evening when the parking lot is full. People park on the side. I spoke to Susan, I don't know, half a dozen times about it. We need to address it because it really creates dangerous situation. Somebody brought up information about the trees. For those who don't know, 2 trees on my property were cut down 2 years ago. I'm still in waiting for those trees to be replaced. I hope I'm not going to push all the way to the spring. And Susan promised me that it's going to be done this year, 2 years later. Why? Have no idea, but we can live through that. Frank Brady spoke, and you guys spoke about the monies that were received and dispersed, that this was paid and that was paid. The money, from what I understood, that the money was received and the numbers that were presented, they're the numbers after the attorneys were satisfied for the services rendered. I would suppose this is, so to speak, clean money, net money after that. My question is this. Again, if I'm making a mistake, I apologize. And when I was on the board, it was implemented. And if I'm not making again a mistake, we're paying about $50 a month to replenish the money, which was spent at that famous
Hey, Joe.
excellent litigation. My question to you is, guys, please, Ricky spoke for 6 or 7 minutes and nobody said a word. So my question is, the money that was spent about in the area of 6 figures in the middle of about 500,000, 400,000, how is that money being replenished now in the view of the fact that we received some additional funds? So maybe if we satisfy the money, if we replace the money that was spent before with the previous boards, maybe then we can talk about make life easier and pay less in the form of the fees.
Okay, thank you,
I
Joe.
would love somebody to explain to me, please.
Joe, which question do you want answered, the tree or the money?
Trees.
Talk to tree, just say.
What's he talking? He's talking about.
Joe?
He's muted, so.
No. The trees are not a question. The trees, I'm sure Susan will address it. I trust Susan. My question is, in the view of the fact that we received 6 figures sums, how was that money applied towards the funds that were spent with McNulty's and before McNulty's with Starks and Starks and everybody else? Is that money being replenished with the funds that was received? Therefore,
I'll give you the answer.
Joe, I'll try to answer. The money that we spoke about earlier through the transition, that was the transition of the PRC properties only, okay? I can't see you, Joe.
Yeah.
You're talking about Stark and Stark money. Stark and Stark is history, okay? You're talking about the Cara properties. This money that we got from PRC and the Madison Crossing at Birch Hill LLC, that was specifically for transition, which, as I said earlier, was Daily Court Properties, Hoffman, Barber, McGowan, and Building P. It has nothing to do with Cara properties that I live in and that you live in and that many residents in this community live in. You may recall, we lost a bankruptcy case. And then we proceeded, yes, we spent money to try to have that turned over. We lost, and you know it. And then there was a discussion, should we appeal? And the decision was made, no, we don't have a chance. The appeal probably wouldn't be successful, and it would just cost us all money and time. So what we did was, as I said earlier, under Vince's leadership, we moved ahead and we took care of the transition from PRC.
I think that's enough for now.
Does that make sense?
Joe, that's all we can go with it, Joe. We got to move on, Joe.
Okay.
I understand. I'm famous.
Okay, next person is Arena Zach. Arena Zach.
Wait, can I talk to Joe for a second, Sal?
Sal?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna call you tomorrow about the shrubs, but the street light, as we talked about, I've contacted JCP&L, that's their light pole. I don't know who knocked it over. Bob's called, some residents have called because the numbers are on the pole. They said it could take up to a year to replace. So the board agreed that we would pay for it, even though it's not our pole. AMJ Electric was actually out today, and they said it's above their scope of work. So tomorrow we're gonna call Kelly Kilowatt and we're gonna get that light fixed for you. And then I'll call you tomorrow about the shrubs when we're gonna get that done for you, okay?
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Let's move on, Sal.
Okay, Arena Zach is next.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, this is Irina Charlie at 21 McGovern Court. I have a remark and I have a question. My remark will be about the meeting. We already, the last meeting we had, it was November. So you were saying that because of COVID, we couldn't meet in the club, but we had whole summer and we were requesting this meeting in the summertime. We could have met at the, the parking lot by the club. That's number one. Also, I want to say, again, one member of our community was just insulted today at the meeting, as I was also insulted. So we have, just for information for our members, that we have on the Facebook, we have a Madison Crossing forum. So I would like to everyone to join that. So we will have a community that should have been probably done back in March. And my question is about gym. How we will accommodate people who work, because I see that decision was to have a gym available only 3 days a week from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. So how we will accommodate people who work and would like to use the gym during the weekend?
Потому что она приходит на работу в это время.
Let's answer your question about the gym. We will not be able to accommodate people who work in the gym. What we did was a first step in the hope that it will help some people. It won't help everyone, but it's the first step. Someone has to be here to monitor the gym. It's by law, we're not allowed to just leave the clubhouse open and have people coming in and using the gym during the course of the night. So we have no option there. I'm sorry, but that's the cold reality of it. The other thing that I want to respond to you about is that you say you were requesting a meeting outside. Now, I happen to be a member of that forum. I don't particularly like what goes on there, but that being said, that is not the formal and proper way to make a request to this community. If you talk about it in the forum, it stays in the forum. You want to make a formal request to have a meeting in the clubhouse, outside of the clubhouse, it has to come through Susan. And that's what I have to say about that. I'm not trying to be cold about it, but that's the answer.
And actually, people requested many times to have it outside.
Not that I'm aware of.
Irina, we just, we've heard that you and other people wanted a closed board meeting with us to discuss some of the issues that you've had. We sent an invitation out to Alice, who is the administrator of the forum, that we would meet with her and 3 other people, representatives of the group that has concerns with the board, to meet with us on September 30th. We asked that you get back to us on September 23rd, which was yesterday. No response from the forum, Alice or anyone else who wanted this meeting. We sent a second invitation, and it was told to us that they will take up the questions at this meeting. So we did reach out.
I'm not aware of this request.
Well, listen,
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Your forum talks all the
You're
time.
pretty active on the forum, and we try to accommodate. So, we're doing the best we can to accommodate everybody in the community. There's a lot of different concerns, and we need to do that. And for the record, the last meeting was in January, just before COVID-19 struck the United States of America. It wasn't November, for the record. Thank you.
It's almost 9 months and we haven't met.
That's correct, and that's what, don't blame it to COVID-19.
Talk to the governor who shut the state down.
Not us.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to Maria D'Angelo.
I'm sorry, it's Alice. Can I ask you to Irina's?
Alice, please wait your turn. Please wait your turn. Please wait your turn. Maria D'Angelo.
You talked about her, so let her finish.
Maria D'Angelo, you're next.
You said something against Alice, let her finish.
Maria D'Angelo, you're next. Okay, I'm not hearing from Maria D'Angelo, so.
You're muted. That's why. I think she's muted. Sal.
Okay, I'll take her off.
Unmute. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Maria, you're on.
Okay, it's Lisa Alessio. I'm with Marie. I happen to be on her computer right now. The whole thing with the bench thing, in other words, we're going to spend money on benches. Do we really need benches through the community to spend that kind of money to sit? I don't understand what I'm hearing. The money.
Exactly.
Good point.
If I may cut you short for a moment, it was a suggestion made by one of the residents here. It has not been approved by the board. It's not
I
even.
understand that, but it sounds like you're considering it. He kept saying
we
about a
consider
bench
it.
here and a bench there. That's a lot of money. Why are we paying for benches? I don't understand when there were so many other things.
I agree. That's why we have.
This is Marie. I just want to say something also. We have a lot more important things to do. The sprinkler system in this development needs serious attention. Every single year, we lose it for half of the summer. So we need to prioritize what we want to spend money on, and that is more important than
benches.
Agreed.
Listen, nobody's saying that the benches are overruling the sprinkler work that needs to be done. It's just a resident requested it. The board is looking at it. As anyone else who would make a request for something, the board considers it. That's all. No decision has been made. As far as the sprinkler system goes, it seems every time we turn around, something else is breaking. I can tell you the board members aren't going around breaking it. And obviously, I didn't mean that in any harmful way, but every time we turn around, something's breaking. Now we had this power outage, if you remember, and it blew out the control panel, and it blew out how many?
14 zones.
14 zones, and they're working on it, and I think they've gotten 3. What are we down to 3 or 5 left? 3 or 4 left that they're still not working. So that's what's happening. The system's 15, 16 years old, and one sprinkler company points to the other sprinkler company doing something wrong, and this one points to that one, and that's it. That's what it is. That's what we're stuck with. I mean, we had a pump that went this year. We had a pump that went last year. And every time a pump goes, it throws off the entire main computer system, and nothing works in the sprinkler system. So,
Well, you would save money if you bid stuff out.
Excuse me?
You would save money if you started to bid stuff out.
We'll be bidding it again next year.
But you didn't bid out the steps.
Okay, next
and Joe Pasternak was involved with that as well, I think. So.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying
next person.
You save money when.
Next person is Michelle Magda.
Okay. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. First, I got a quick comment about this forum. I'm not in it, but I need to make sure that it's private with these people in this community, because my house value will go down if outsiders are reading this stuff, how bad we are. So please, whoever's in charge of the forum, please make sure it stays within the community. That's a big concern of mine.
It is private.
Okay, because that's a concern. That was a concern. Now here's my question. It's my turn. Are we anywhere, Susan or Vincent? I'm asking you nicely. Are we anywhere with this dog park? You know, I'm desperate for this dog park, and I'm willing to be on a committee and oversee a lot of things with it. So I just want to make sure we didn't drop the ball. Okay.
No. Dropped. We're looking into it.
All right.
Originally, thank you, Michelle, for staying on top of it. I had, for people that know, I met with Michelle and Milby Wiener about it. The location we wanted to initially put it in, we can't. And the size that we need to have for the larger dogs is a problem, because we really can't accommodate it at the clubhouse. So it's not neglected. We are looking into it, and you will get an update over the next couple of weeks. And I thank you for all the information that you provided us with too, Michelle.
And Michelle, I'd like to bring something else up that you brought up about this website. It is a very detrimental website, being controlled basically by 4 or 5 people with their opinions only, and it is detrimental to to the building values of this community. I agree with you.
Alice initiated it, but it's only by invitation, period.
Okay, Alice, you're up, Alice. I'm gonna unmute you.
Sal, who do we have next, Sal?
Alice is next. Alice, just unmute yourself, Alice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So first of all, I did answer yesterday to Michelle on, to Susan, sorry, Susan, to this email, because I did not have emails of all board members, so I tried to reply to all, but it did not work. Second, regarding this forum setup.
Susan was.
Alice, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Susan, what you said, just repeat it.
Okay, Susan, I did send you reply, I guess it was yesterday, just after 4 p.m. for this email. I was not able to reply to all because I don't have email address of the board members. Secondary, forum setup. It was set up based off Facebook rules. It's set up as a private group. Only people who are on the forum members could see posts and could post and could see each other. So it's not available to anybody outside of this group. Also, it was set up during the summertime when people were not able to have much communication with each other, or we need to express our thoughts, we need to express our comments, and this was the best way to communicate to each other. So participation to this forum is completely voluntary, and as many people as on the forum, they could have different opinions, and it's nothing wrong if people have different opinions.
We have 90 people, it's not just by 5, it's controlled by everybody.
Hold on. And also, private meeting, I don't understand why it was, I was invited with just few more people to the private meeting. We don't have secrets from anybody. We don't have secrets to anybody, from anybody. So if anybody have questions, they could be asked and answered on this meeting. I'm not representative from this forum. I'm exactly the same member as everybody else. The only things, I just set up this one application. So I'm exactly the same as everybody else. So
Thank you. Thank you. Sal, how many more questions do we have, Sal?
That's the last one.
Okay, good. Good. All right. People, I want to thank you. This is a tough way to hold the meeting. I'm sure that some of you gotten answers that you want and some of you aren't happy with our full response, but there's only so much we could do. We will have another Zoom meeting, as we mentioned, November 12th for the candidates night. So please be aware of that, because if you're going to vote, and we certainly hope you are going to vote, you should know who your candidates are. And with that, Sal, the board wants to thank you, and on behalf of the community, we want to thank you for hosting this meeting.
Thank you. Anytime. It was a pleasure.
What's that? Right, and the election meeting is on the 18th of November. Don't forget that, people. Thank you, everybody. I don't know how to do that.